Welcome back to MMA Punchline. I'm your host, Adam Palumbo, and today we will be touching on the 10-point must system and judging criteria used to score mixed martial arts bouts. We'll talk about the origins, a few misconceptions commonly held by the fans about the relationship between the UFC and the Athletic Commission, and of course, why there desperately needs to be a complete evaluation and overhaul of the system in place. So let's get her going. The 10-point must system. It's a system that was adopted when all the athletic commissions in the United States agreed to what are referred to as the unified rules of mixed martial arts way back in 2001. The system was adopted as a way of scoring rounds and declaring a winner at the end of each bout in the event a fight went without a knockout or a submission. It is a system that mixed martial arts derived from boxing in order to make it complacent with athletic commission standards. In other words, when MMA adopted this scoring system, it adopted it because it made MMA much more attractive to regulatory bodies. You have to remember, MMA is a young sport and was illegal in the majority of North America back in 2001. In order to become legalized, MMA promotions decided to play ball and adopted the system used in the most prevalent and popular combat sport at the time, boxing. And it works well with boxing, for the most part, because it was a system created to work within the parameters of boxing. It does not work well with mixed martial arts, however, because it was imposed on mixed martial arts. You see the difference? Created for boxing, imposed on MMA. And the judges appointed for MMA bouts are not trained to score an MMA fight. They are trained to score a boxing match. Who's to say how one judge scores a takedown compared to the next judge, or how a submission attempt will be graded in comparison to a body shot? And if the incompetence of the judges and the system in place continues, we will also continue to have bouts scored like the headlining fight between Johnny Hendricks and Georges St. Pierre, where losers are crowned winners and winners get a big fat L on their record. The split decision victory in favor of St. Pierre was downright irresponsible. After that fifth round ended, there wasn't a person in the world who thought Georges St. Pierre won that fight. Not me, not the fans, not the media, not Georges St. Pierre. The look of each fighter at the post-fight press conference speaks for itself. GSP looked like he had just been hit by a truck, and Johnny Hendricks looked like he had just finished reading a good book. But to 2 out of the 3 judges scoring the fight that night who scored in favor of St. Pierre, their decision can be justified. Why? Because of the 10-point must system. In the 10-point must system, one of the 2 fighters must be declared a winner in each round. So in a 5-round bout, there's bound to be errors. So GSP may have slightly edged Hendricks in rounds 3 and 5, but Hendricks absolutely smashed GSP in rounds 2 and 4. But because there's no way of reflecting that on the scorecards, the performance of each fighter was scored to be the same. The first round was a bit of a toss-up, and 2 judges favored the defending champion. But there should be some clarification to anyone who is blaming the UFC for the bad decision in judging that took place that night. The UFC does not appoint judges and has no influence on how a bout is scored. That responsibility falls on the shoulders of the Regulatory Athletic Commission in the state or province in which the bout is held. And as shown at the post-fight press conference, Dana White is every bit as frustrated at the incompetence and inadequacy of the system in place as the fans at home. Now look, it's easy for me to sit here and trash the current system, especially when I don't have a suitable substitute. But someone in the governing bodies needs to make changes immediately to avoid blasphemous decisions like the one we saw at UFC 167, and for the sake of the sport. That's all the time we have for today. Be sure to leave your comments below, and don't forget to like our Facebook page and check out CIB24.com. I'm your host, Adam Palumbo. Tune in next time for more MMA Punchline.